You're watching South Asia Newsline and here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Wednesday, the 27th of September. Jaishankar talks tough on Khalistan, organised crime in Canada. Pashtun and Sindhi activists highlight Pakistani atrocities in Geneva. And it's raining medals for India at Asian Games as shooters shine. And now for all the details. Amid the ongoing India-Canada row, India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar on Tuesday raised concern over the rise in organised crime, violence and extremism linked to secessionist forces in Canada and said despite India's badgering against these elements, there is inaction by Ottawa due to political reasons. Speaking at an event of the Council on Foreign Relations in New York, Jaishankar said India is concerned about the threats and attack against Indian missions in Canada by anti-India elements which have become very permissive because of Canada's political environment. He added India on multiple occasions has shared extradition requests for terrorist and organised crime leadership from Canada, but Ottawa has failed to respond on them. He said while India has shared specific intelligence against fugitives wanted by India, no specific information has been shared so far by Ottawa in Nijjar's killing. India is open to look into the killing if Canada shares any information, he said.
Canada actually has seen a lot of organized crime, relating to, the secessionist forces, organized crime, violence, extremism. They're all very, very deeply mixed up. So, in fact, we have been, talking about specifics and information. We have actually been badgering the Canadians. We have given them a lot of information about organized crime leadership, which operates out of Canada. There are a large number of extradition requests. There are terrorist leaders who have been identified. So do understand that there is an environment out there.
Relations between India and Canada have turned sour since last week after Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau linked India to the murder of Khalistani terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. India has called the allegation by Canada as absurd and motivated. Moving on, Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday participating in a program marking the completion of 20 years of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit guaranteed that India will be among the top 3 economies of the world. Addressing the gathering of industrialists and businessmen, the PM said the Biennial Investors Summit was started to make the state a growth engine of India, and after 2014, the aim has been to make India a global growth engine. He highlighted the Vibrant Gujarat events have turned into an institution and many states later followed it by organizing their own investment summits.
अब हम एक ऐसे मोड़ पर खड़े हैं जहां भारत ग्लोबल इकोनॉमिक पावर हाउस बनने जा रहा है। अब भारत को दुनिया की, और ये मेरी आपको भी गारंटी है, आप अपनी आंखों के सामने देखेंगे कुछ ही वर्षों में भारत दुनिया की टॉप 3 इकोनॉमी में होगा।
Pakistan's former Prime Minister and PTI party chief Imran Khan has been moved to a new jail with better facilities near capital Islamabad after a court order, his lawyer has informed. Khan has been detained in a low-key colonial-era prison in Attock district that lacked facilities like attached bathroom and television and made it harder for family and friends to visit or send newspapers, books or food. About a dozen supporters gathered outside the Adiala jail, throwing rose petals and chanting as a convoy of police cars and armoured vehicles arrived on Tuesday night.
मैं जो ही पता चला कि इमरान खान साहब आ गए हैं, हम भागते भागते गए, ये पत्तियां को एक मान के करीब हम लेके आए हैं। पहले हम गए थे अपना टूल प्लाजा गए थे, वहाँ से सिर्फ 1 मिनट हुआ वो खान साहब निकल आए। फिर हम अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हमारा अल्लाह का लाख लाख शुक्र है कि जिस मकसद के लिए हमने पत्तियां ली हैं, हमने आके यहाँ पे निछावर कर दी हैं। हम बनी गाला से आए हैं, सिर्फ इमरान खान के इस्तकबाल के लिए आए हैं। मैं पूरी फैमिली के समाज से में आया हूँ।
Khan was jailed in August in connection with a corruption case for 3 years and has been barred from politics for 5 years. His legal team and party had been pleading with several courts to issue orders for Khan to be shifted to Adiala jail, which they argued was more appropriate for the former premier. Moving on, Pashtun and Sindhi activists held massive protests in Geneva on Tuesday to highlight atrocities against ethnic minorities by the Pakistani state and its army. A report.
Pashtun activists held massive anti-Pakistan protest outside the UNHRC building in Geneva on Tuesday to highlight rights violations by the Pakistani establishment against ethnic minorities. Members of the Pashtun Tahaffuz movement raised slogans against Pakistan Army for carrying out genocide of Pashtuns and against its policy of sponsoring terrorism. The activists blamed Pashtuns have been targets of military operations, enforced disappearances and fake encounters by Pakistani security forces.
The Pakistani army is committing gross human rights violations like extrajudicial killings, enforced disappearances, arbitrary detentions and torture. But this time we are concentrating on one of the most important points, that is the systematic use of torture by Pakistan army. For the last few months, they are arresting the activists of PTM and then torturing in custody.
Meanwhile, Sindhi activists in their demonstration raised the issue of ethnic cleansing of Hindus, land grabbing and systematic discrimination of Sindhis by Pakistan. They said Pakistan has completely ignored Sindh, where people are suffering from poverty, malnutrition and diseases.
They are taking our life, because land is our life. They decided they will take 1.3 million acres of land for corporate farming. So, Sindhi people are dying, literally, of hunger, of malnutrition, of poverty. Recently, there were floods that are completely abundant. So, it is really worst situation, and as a rogue state, they are not ready to listen.
Calling US-Bangladesh relations as cordial, Foreign Minister AK Abdul Momen has said a vested quarter is trying to create bitterness between Dhaka and Washington and spreading false information about Bangladesh, the Dhaka Tribune reported on Wednesday. Momen, who was speaking at a gathering in New York, said Bangladesh follows a balanced foreign policy and there is no dispute in ties with the US, as both have similar beliefs on human rights and democracy. He advised the diaspora to remain vigilant about certain sections who are not happy over the developments in Bangladesh. The comments came after a long Cold War between Bangladesh and Western countries as they raised concern over crackdown by incumbent Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on dissent and critics of her administration. Washington has also introduced a new visa policy restricting entry for Bangladeshi nationals in US who undermine elections in their home country. A large number of tourists are thronging the Sacred Ensembles of Hoysalas in India after the temples were made part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site list last week. The Hoysala temple, with unique architectural style, are located in the southern town of Hassan and were built during the 12th and 13th century by the rulers of Hoysala dynasty.
This temple is really beautiful. It talks about how human life is different from the god life. They have created in different sections also, apart from the actual murti which is there. It's really beautiful and it's very intricate designs are there. They are very nice to look at. So it's something that people should explore more and understand about the history.
The temples are an amalgamation of the traditional North and South Indian style of architecture. They are completely made up of soft soapstone or chloride schist.
एक्सपीरियंस तो बढ़िया था, जैसे इसका आर्किटेक्ट वगैरह है, और अगर 1000 साल से इतना अच्छा आर्किटेक्ट अभी रिप्रेजेंट कर रहा है, वो इससे पहले जो इसका कलर फ्रेम्स और जो भी होगा वो अमेजिंग होगा. और अभी अगर इसको यूनेस्को डिक्लेयर किया है कुछ भी, तो ये ऑटोमेटिकली डेवलप हो जाएगा.
And it's raining medals for India at the ongoing Asian Games in China. Indian shooter Sift Samra on Wednesday scripted history by winning gold in the women's 50-meter rifle-3 position event at the Asiad. This is India's first individual gold in these games and the 5th top finish overall. Samra shattered the world record in a performance for the ages.
It really feels so good and exciting and fun.
Great.
Yes, and we will celebrate. Whole India will celebrate. It's a proud moment for all of us, so yeah.
Ashi Chokse, the other Indian shooter in the event, bagged bronze in the same event. So far, India has clinched more than 20 medals, including 5 gold medals, 7 silvers in shooting, women's cricket and equestrian events. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.